So we are an authentic paddle wheeler. The paddles are being put to good use and they're not just for show. The Queen is also what is known as a split stern wheeler, meaning that the paddles are at the stern of the boat and that they're both independently moving of one another. This is an important factor as it does provide the Queen with a lot more maneuverability than the original side wheelers. We also have two small stacks at the bow of the boat on either side. Now they are fake because they're not steam powered, but they do sit 27 feet above the waterline, which will come into play a little bit later as we approach the railroad bridge. As I like to say, we will cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's a bridge over troubled water.
If you look to the port side of the vessel now, or left side, you can see a beautiful home come into view just behind some of those trees. That is the Gunderson home, built back in 1918 by Dr. Adolf Gunderson. The very same Gunderson who started our Gunderson health system that is so well known in the Crosse today. Dr. Gunderson was a very famous surgeon. He was one of the first surgeons to successfully perform the appendectomy. That is the surgery where you have your appendix removed. In fact, he was so famous for this surgery that La Crosse used to have a train known as the Appendicitis Limited, and with their patients and medical staff on board into La Crosse so they could have the surgery. And I promise that's a true fact and not just a bad tour joke. Mrs. Helga Gunderson did her best to preserve her family's Norwegian heritage. She did this in a couple of different ways. One way is that there is a balcony in the home above the fireplace that is decorated with 8 carvings of typical Norwegian faces. Another thing she did was at meal times around the dinner table, the family, including the children, were only allowed to speak Norwegian. No other language was allowed. So I'm sure if you didn't know a lot of Norwegian, you were probably going hungry that night. The home is also an original log house, though it may not look like one from this distance. And that is because the logs were placed vertically rather than the traditional horizontally. The home is still owned and used by the Gunderson family today, but they only use it as a summer home because the only source of heat in the house is the fireplace. So I imagine it can get pretty chilly there during winter time. The family also owns the island, and it is one of the few privately owned islands on the upper Mississippi. And you may be looking at it thinking, well, Barron's Island and Gunderson Island look like just one giant island, but there is a relatively small creek that does separate the two. Very beautiful home, and I'd love to get a really good look inside, but unfortunately that is not part of